Hello and welcome to my infamous Second Son review. Excuse my bad haircut. No one knows how to fucking cut hair around here. Um, so yes, infamous Second Son, the exclusive on the PS4. I don't have a PS4. My stepdad does. We went halvesies on the game, and I'm glad because I was really tempted to buy one because I'm a big fan of the Infamous series. I mean, the first one was okay. The second one was really good. And when I saw Infamous Second Son, everything I saw about it, I was like, "Ooh, this game's gonna be good." And it isn't really that good. It's below average at best. Essentially, so the plot takes place 7 years after the events of Infamous 2, which really doesn't matter because it doesn't reference the other Infamouses at all in any like plot way. You play as Delson Rowe, some 20-something-year-old rebellious graffiti artist kid. He's like a part of some Native American tribe or some shit. He's got a brother, and so they're called bioterrorists. All the people with powers are called bioterrorists, and they're locked up in some like Alcatraz place for them. And so a transport with three of them comes by, crashes, and they escape. And his brother is a cop, and he's trying to stop them. So the one grabs Delson, and he absorbs his powers. He's like Rogue from X-Men. He touches someone, he gets their memories and their powers, but he keeps them. So his first power is smoke. Yeah, so the main antagonist is some chick who controls concrete. She terrorizes his tribe and puts concrete in all of them and to save them because they're going to die because they can't get the concrete out. He's got to absorb her powers so he can do it himself. And so he goes to Seattle, that's where everybody is. So yeah, the plot it starts out kind of good. I like the voice. I like the voice acting at the start, and I thought Delson was more interesting than Cole because Cole is like stupid. And Cole's the main character from the original Infamous, and his voice was awful. At least Delson had a decent voice. But other than the plot gets pretty uninteresting as you go through. I mean, you're just finding people taking their powers. That is your plot. There's no real twist that you don't see coming. It's still Infamous is very it's more like a third-person shooter kind of, where like you get smoke, and then there are three other powers. There's neon, which is what it sounds like. It's just neon lasers. Digital, which is just digital-looking lasers, and then concrete, which you don't get till the final boss battle, and by that point, there's nothing to even do with your powers. So yeah, all the powers. I mean, they're cool-looking and all. And I thought, it'd be neat to have 4 different powers, because in Infamous 2, all you had was electricity, and then the option of ice or fire. But at least ice and fire and electricity, they varied between each other. They were very different from one another. But in this, all the powers are just different color schemes of the same power. So smoke's just shooting smoke balls. Neon's just shooting neon lasers, which is the equivalent of smoke balls in terms of what that does. Digital's just rapid fire digital balls, and concrete's just concrete balls. You're shooting balls, and they all have the same moveset. You got a widespread shot. You got the basic shot. The heavy shot, a melee attack, and a dash. Like, I will say that you do get around better in this one than you did in Infamous 1, or maybe even 2, because every power has a dash that lets them traverse the world rather easily. And then that's about it. That's as far as the powers go. I mean, you upgrade them, but all you really do is upgrade your ammunition, because you have to absorb the element and you store it. You can only hold one power at a time. So you find a neon sign, you absorb it, you get so much neon ammo. You find smoke, absorb it, etc. And that's really all the powers only vary, and I think smoke's the weakest, but it's also the most easy thing to absorb. It's the easiest to find. That's all it really varies by. I mean, you might as well have played the game just using smoke, because that's all the difference is between the powers, is their sources of energy and their color. So it gets pretty boring. And another thing is the enemies are just they're like a SWAT team of people with the concrete power, and there's maybe like 4 of them. They just vary in how they use the power. They jump around, and they're cool and all, but they're just the equivalent of the ice people from Infamous 2. And the difference between this and Infamous 2 is Infamous 2 had other factions. There was the normal militia, there were the military ice guys, there was the swamp monsters. There was a lot of variety, and this is just those soldiers, and that's it. That's it. So you're just fighting the same soldiers, and the game's like maybe 6 hours long for story, and it doesn't do anything interesting. It doesn't go anywhere. Like, you meet characters, and they're just total stereotypes. Like, their whole personality is their stereotype. You meet a junkie. Her personality is, I'm a junkie, and I like drugs. But then the drugs made me kill my brother, and now I don't like drug dealers. Oh no. And then you got the gamer, who's, he's the stereotypical, oh, I'm a nerdy, I got glasses and acne, and I can't get girls, and I'm shy gamer. And that's their whole personalities, and they don't go anywhere. They get introduced, they get one mission where you can either make them evil or good, which is stupid. I don't see why you would want to make them evil in the first place. Like, because in Infamous, there's the karma system. And at least in Infamous 1, there were some decisions that made sense. Because in the very first decision in Infamous 1 is there's a supply drop, and you get the option of either keeping it for yourself and your friends, or sharing it with all the people. That's an actual decision. And this game's just, oh, do I want to make this guy evil or good because I control their personality somehow. It's dumb. Yeah, the karma system serves no purpose, which I guess I'm fine with, because it's dumb to begin with. But it shouldn't even be there. Essentially, you're either good or you're evil. And being good means you get to save people. If you get good points from healing people, freeing them, and then there's really nothing to do to be evil. To get evil points, you gotta kill people. That's it. There's no evil objectives. Yeah, it's really dumb. At least in Infamous 2, you had a bunch of different powers you got if you were good or evil. And I'm glad they didn't do that, because you'd have to play through the game twice to get all the powers, to experience all the powers. But in this one, it's like, oh, if you're good or evil, you just get slight differences. Like, oh, you're slightly better with this power than this power. It doesn't really affect it, which is fine. But then the karma system serves no purpose other than deciding the ending. And the ending is about as what you expect. And Delson's character doesn't make sense to be evil. Everything he does seems to be good, except for those key plot points where he's like, oh, I could be evil or good. But then everything else has to... It's stupid. The characters are... like, Delson himself gets pretty stupid after a while. I got really annoyed with him. Even the main villain got pretty lame at the end. Like, I thought she was kind of interesting, and then at the end it's like, nope. The sandbox is pretty, but it's kind of small, and there's nothing to do in it. I mean, you get those few story missions, and then all the side missions are about as boring as it gets, at least in the other Infamouses. And yes, I'm comparing it to the other Infamous games because it's a sequel, or whatever. It's, it's part of a franchise. I have expectations of a franchise. So there's like 4 different side missions. The one is, you find you see the point of view of this one hidden camera, and then you shoot the camera, and that's the whole mission. That could take up to a minute, depending on how long it takes you to figure out where it is. Then there's find the double agent within the crowd, and you just find him, kill him. That's the whole mission. Then there's one more. That's, what is it? There's that. Oh, there's follow the signal. So you just get in meters how far away you are. You follow it. It'll go up and down. You're playing hot and cold, and you find the thing. That's it. It's an audio recording. And then there's the other one where it's the hardware gimmick, where you gotta take the PlayStation controller, you're doing graffiti, you shake it, and then you hold the trigger and pretend it's a spray can, and it makes little hissing noises, and that's it. You pick from 2 pictures, the good or the bad picture, and then you stencil it in, and then you do that like 3 times, and then that's the whole mission. That's it. Yeah, it's a very gimmicky game, because you gotta use the little touchpad to do things that you could just do by pressing a button. It's dumb. It also Yeah, also when you use the spray can, the little light here is the color of the spray. Except if it's black, there's no black color, it's gotta be purple. So, and again, it's got a speaker in it, so, you know, whenever your phone rings in the game, your controller rings. Ooh. Yeah, and I was really disappointed. Like, I thought it would be good. I mean, it does, I mean, I guess it plays well, but there's not much to play, is the thing. It's more like a smoother Infamous 1, but Infamous 2 already did that. Infamous 2 is much better. It has a good ending, a decent plot, some actually interesting characters with personalities. Yeah, I was really disappointed, but I'm glad I didn't get a PS4 for it, because I was really tempted to. But, yeah, it is not the console exclusive to get you to buy PS4, that's for sure. So, yeah.